Brainwashing and the Primitive Mechanism. How or why do we start porn masturbation orgasming in the first place? To understand this fully, you need to examine the powerful effect of the supranormal stimulus. We all tend to think we are intelligent, dominant human beings, determining our paths through life. We act and act frequently when our brain reward circuitry is rewarded. Nobel laureate Nicholas Tinbergen coined the term supranormal stimulus. He said animals could be tricked into preferring fake eggs and mates. Female birds, for example, struggled to sit on larger-than-life, vividly spotted plaster eggs, while their own pale, dappled eggs perished unattended. The stimulation here in internet porn is not that it brings stimulating actors and themes to your home. It is a genie at your bidding to create a harem in your mind. You can switch between genres and theme, homemade and viewer-rated, commented and discussed, so rapidly and so easily. We absolutely are not ready for the high-speed internet porn, and our brains are not designed to handle this supranormal stimuli. We can have an information overload from the same internet, but our reward circuits are not going to squirt dopamine at the levels when porn overload is involved. We are evolutionarily programmed to seek and access sex-related stuff, and we wrongly appraise the stimulus, mostly based on this reward circuit action. If all you wanted is to masturbate, why can't you just use one clip and get the business done? Here is another question. Next time after a long day or some stressful incident, can you consciously embellish your self-talk with, "Do you know what I would really enjoy today? The marvelous warm glow of a dopamine rush going to my online harem." You will find that even people who dislike porn masturbation orgasm will join you. Past misguided advice. There was much misguided advice given in the past, and one is that masturbating will lead to blindness. And there are some other scare tactics that clearly overdid it. It is right that those notions were overthrown by science. But now the mainstream threw the baby out with the bathwater. TV programs, pop music, literature, and movies all subtly show shambolic characters using porn or masturbation. They knowingly or unknowingly mix porn, sex, internet porn, masturbation, and orgasm. From our earliest years, our subconscious minds are bombarded daily with information telling us that sex is good and that the most precious thing on this earth is to achieve orgasm. Girls are taught to achieve it and claim it's because they were wrongly suppressed of their sexual side for a very long time, and still are. You think I exaggerate? Watch any television or movie plot and you will see the mix-up of the amative, or the touch, smell, voice, etc., and the propagative, orgasmic sides of sex. The impact of this does not register on our conscious minds, but the sleeping partner, the subconscious mind, has time to absorb it. What the message is really saying is, the most precious thing on this earth, my last thought and action, will be the goal of orgasm. If you don't have an orgasm, then you're an old man with zero libido. Our children are being bombarded by sex and porn clips, and many don't even know how to protect them from it all. Large hoardings and magazine adverts are loaded with sexual innuendo. Some of the pop videos are extremely suggestive. Again, they hide behind free speech. Don't be vexed and feel powerless about it. Make it a game, and look for which components they are using. Is it novelty, shock value, color, size, taboo, etc.? If the kids are preteen, Some of these can be disclosed to them, and it would make an excellent show-and-tell game. A while back, there was a wave of leaked private videos of celebrities on the internet. If the youngster is too smitten by their favorite star, even if the conscious mind blames the leak on the bloodthirsty internet paparazzi, the sleeping partner is patiently digesting the notion that, yes, even my shambolic hero does it, and if I don't, I won't look the part. The scientific reasoning. True, there is publicity the other way. The porn-induced erectile dysfunction scares, the loss of motivation, preferring virtual porn to real girls, yourbrainonporn.com, reboot forums, underground pickup artists, the no-fap movement. But these do not actually stop people porn masturbation orgasming. Logically, they should, but the fact is, they don't. They would not even prevent youngsters from starting no matter how much the yourbrainonporn.com guys try. All the years that I remained a porn masturbation orgasmer, I can honestly say, even if I had read all of them before, I would never have become a quitter. The truth is that it doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. The trap is the same today as when you fell into it. Ironically, the most powerful force in this melee of confusion is the porn masturbation orgasmer himself. It is a fallacy that they are weak-willed or are physically weak specimens. You have to be physically strong in order to cope with an addiction after you know it is. This is one of the reasons why porn masturbation orgasmers refuse to accept the overwhelming statistics that prove that internet porn, with its novelty, cripples your brain. Add to that the sexologists who are doing half-baked studies and declare porn masturbation orgasm is not an issue. They just help to add to the confusion. Everyone knows a friend who porn masturbation orgasmed every day. He started with the static to internet porn, always horny in real life, chasing girls, and you never doubted him to have sex problems, of course. You want to believe him. He never complained about any erectile dysfunction, right? Guys and girls like them refuse ever to consider the hundreds of ex-addicts and non-porn masturbation orgasmers who painfully recount their difficulties. It is the little monster, brain chemical addiction, and the big monster, illusions and delusions. In this hackbook, I've put together almost all the sorts of brainwashing a porn masturbation orgasmer can suffer from. There will always be a few out there that I haven't touched upon. Even more painful is they think of themselves as unsuccessful losers and insufferable introverts. A possible fact is that a porn masturbation orgasmer friend could have been more interesting in person if he hadn't put himself down for seeking self-pleasure. If you do a small survey among your online forum members, friends, and colleagues, you will find that most porn masturbation orgasmers are, in fact, strong-willed people. They tend to be self-employed, business executives, or in certain specialized professions such as doctors, lawyers, policemen, teachers, salesmen, nurses, secretaries, housewives with children, etc. In other words, anybody leading a stressful existence. Yes, I did include women and mothers. It's the brain, and it's the same for them too. The main delusion of the porn masturbation orgasmer is that porn helps to masturbate, to orgasm, and that relieves stress. This tends to be associated with the dopamine type, the type that takes on responsibility and stress, and of course, that is the type that we admire and therefore tend to copy. Another group that tends to get hooked are people in monotonous jobs, because the other main reason for porn masturbation orgasming is boredom. However, the idea that internet porn relieves boredom is also an illusion, I'm afraid. As a society, we get all uptight about glue sniffing, heroin addiction, etc. Well, actual deaths from glue sniffing do not amount to 10 per annum, and deaths from heroin are less than 100 a year in this country. There is another drug, internet porn, on which over 45% of us become hooked at some time in our lives, and the majority spend the rest of their lives regretting it. Some even don't know that their erectile dysfunction is due to this. The willpower method. Porn masturbation orgasmers who quit using the willpower method blame their own lack of willpower and ruin their peace and happiness. It is one thing to fail in self-discipline and another to self-loathe. There is no law that requires you to get fully hard all the time before sex and to be properly aroused, and that you must be able to satisfy a woman. We are working on an addiction and not a habit. Habit is something you like to do, for example, golf. At no point you are arguing with yourself to stop golfing, but you do so with your porn addiction. The real question is why. Constant exposure to internet porn rewires your brain. You need to start building resistance to this brainwashing. Just as if you were buying a car from a second-hand car dealer. You would be nodding politely, but you would not believe a word the man was saying. So don't believe everything they say either. That you must have sex as much as you can, and you must have it exceptionally good. And that in the absence of real sex, you claim it by the substitute called internet porn, which is only a component of the good old porn. And don't play safe porn games either, because your little porn monster invented that scheme to lure you. Even the content labeled amateur. Really? Is there a certification authority that certifies that? Tube sites and porn producers gather site visitor profiles and cater to their needs. If they see a trend in crowdsourced collection of a particular genre, they will focus on that and get content out ASAP. The statistics of what genre users like is collected to the level of how long and which portion the users were preferring. Do not be fooled by their educational intent or the safe female-oriented clips for you ladies. Start asking yourself, why am I doing it? Do I really need to? No, of course you don't. I find this brainwashing aspect the most difficult of all to explain. Why is it that an otherwise rational, intelligent human being becomes a complete imbecile about his own addiction? It pains me to confess that out of the thousands of people that I have assisted in kicking the habit, I, Not Allen Carr, was the biggest idiot of all. At the age of 13, although I was doing well at school and games, I was still an insufferable introvert. I read books from the library that were not within my main study list. However, I can see that I was attracted to erotica. I started masturbating to TV programs, song and dance sequences, etc. I must have to have it every day. The tired feeling I felt was misappropriated by my little porn monster as work stress. I didn't know my "I must masturbate as I am entitled" attitude was the one that created the stress in the first place. Then I got pictures and GIFs via email on my laptop. The first step towards electronic porn. The color and texture of the images were amazing for me at the time. Won't be now for sure. Then came dial-up, but still they were predominantly static pictures. Then came downloadable videos. It's a pain to download and watch now, but it was heaven sent then when we were coming out of the static porn era. Oh, the streaming tube sites haven't arrived yet. When real sex is not enough anymore, I even remember opening my laptop after having real sex, an activity I did due to stress induced by my own irrational, rigid self-demands to make her orgasm. And I was wanting more. Obviously, the prospect of orgasm providing fulfillment rarely happens after prolonged porn use. So my mind was reaching out to porn. At the age of 40, I was visiting my online harem daily, drinking socially, whatever that means, and smoking sometimes, but not so often. I had wrongly subscribed to misguided ideas of moderation and entitlement. I had reached the stage where I couldn't get through a single day without reaching out to porn in the night. With most porn masturbation orgasmers, the triggers are the normal stresses of life, like answering the telephone or socializing. When I experienced porn-induced erectile dysfunction, I knew it was killing my virility. There was no way I could kid myself otherwise. I'm smart enough not to project the porn fantasies onto real life, but it was like pacifying a dog straining at its leash. But why I couldn't see what it was doing to me mentally, I could not understand. It was almost jumping up and biting me on the nose. The ridiculous thing is that most porn masturbation orgasmers suffer the delusion at some time in their life that they enjoy internet porn because it is normal and healthy. I never suffered that delusion. I porn masturbation orgasmed because I thought enjoying sex is a birthright, and I'm only doing a normal thing. Since it was easier at most times for me to get internet porn than a partner, I thought I'm doing the normal thing. Now I am a non-porn masturbation orgasmer. The most difficult part is trying to believe that those days actually happened. It's like awakening from a nightmare, and that is about the size of it. Internet porn is a supranormal drug. It is weakening your de-stressing mechanisms, your virility, and your energy. The worst aspect of porn masturbation orgasm isn't the injury to your health or manliness. It is the warping of the mind. You search for any plausible excuse to go on. I remember at one stage switching to static images, a failed attempt to cut down on internet porn, in the belief that it was less harmful and I could rein in my habit. I failed to see the novelty in the shock demands from my little monster just to get more dopamine. Did I stay within my boundaries? I favorited two-dimensional photos in my harem collection, saw pictures and videos of mild-type porn rotating in and out like musical chairs. When their music stopped, they exited. I didn't understand the novelty-seeking, shock-seeking nature of my brain. Porn-induced erectile dysfunction and my excuses. Once I figured out I had porn-induced erectile dysfunction, as it had occurred multiple times with two different partners, I switched to more and more sophisticated masturbation. I practiced with different artificial vaginas. They are sold as strength training. However, the combo of internet porn and toys needs deft hands, which is off-putting. Besides, by this time, I was at the stage of orgasming with a limp member. All I wanted is an orgasm, so I did not care about arousal, getting hard and all that. I had a long-distance married girlfriend who likes to share and talk about her sex life in very explicit manner. It turned me on so much that I'd masturbate to orgasm when I'm on the phone with her. She knew it and would play with me by cutting off abruptly to keep me hanging there, making me wanting more when she calls the next time. She had no trouble because I was fully willing to be the subject of playing such games, as long as it led to orgasm. A girl knows when a guy is seeking orgasm, and it's his only goal. The only redeeming factor about me was my intelligence and empathy, which kept her and my other partners coming back to me. Most porn masturbation orgasmers swear that they only watch static and soft porn, and so they are okay. They are actually straining at the leash and thus fighting with their willpower to resist temptations. If they do this too often and for too long, they will debit their willpower considerably and fail in other life projects where willpower is of much greater value, like in daily exercise, dieting, etc. Continuous failure in those areas will make them feel miserable and guilty, and very soon they will find themselves back to their entitled relief. If not, they will vent their anger and depression onto their loved ones. The answer is that once you have become addicted to internet porn, the brainwashing is increased. Your subconscious mind knows that the little monster has to be fed, and you block everything else from your mind. As I have already stated, it is fear that keeps people from quitting. The fear of that empty, insecure feeling that you get when you stop supplying the brain with dopamine flooding. Just because you are not aware of it doesn't mean that it isn't there. You don't have to understand it any more than a cat needs to understand where the underfloor hot water pipes are. It just knows that if it sits in a certain place, it gets the feeling of warmth. The passivity of our mind. It is the passivity of our minds and dependency on authority leading to brainwashing that is the main difficulty in giving up porn masturbation orgasm. The brainwashing of our upbringing in society reinforced with the brainwashing from our own addiction, and, most powerful of all, the brainwashing of our friends, relatives, and colleagues. Did you notice that up to now, I frequently referred to giving up porn masturbation orgasm? I used the expression at the beginning of the previous paragraph. This is a classic example of the brainwashing. The expression implies a genuine sacrifice. The beautiful truth is that there is absolutely nothing to give up. On the contrary, you will be freeing yourself from a terrible disease and achieving marvelous positive gains. We are going to start removing this brainwashing now. From this point on, no longer will we refer to giving up, but to stopping, quitting, or the true position, escaping. The only thing that persuades us to porn masturbation orgasm in the first place is all the other people doing it. We feel we are missing out. We work so hard to become hooked, yet nobody ever finds out what they have been missing. But every time we see another new video clip, it reassures us that there must be something in it. Otherwise, people wouldn't be doing it, and it wouldn't be such big business all over the world. Even when he has kicked the habit, the ex-porn masturbation orgasmer feels he is being deprived when a discussion on a sexy entertainer, singer, or even a porn star comes up at a party or other social function. She or he must be good to have all my friends talk about them, no? Do they have hot pictures of her in my tube site? He feels safe. He can have just one peek that night, and before he knows it, he is hooked again. This brainwashing is extremely powerful, and you need to be aware of its effects. I have heard scare stories about wicked men giving heroin-mixed candies to kids at schoolyards. The concept of addiction and being compelled to go on taking the drug filled me with horror. Even to this day, in spite of the fact that I am fairly convinced that pot is not addictive, I would not dare take one puff of marijuana. How ironic that I should have ended up a porn junkie. Technology will continue to grow, and we will have even faster tube sites and more faster access methods. The industry is investing millions in virtual reality, so it will become the next best thing. The point is, do we know where we are going? Are we equipped with an Under Armour of defense so we can enjoy the benefits of technology, yet at the same time protect ourselves from its bad effects? We are about to remove the brainwashing. It is not the porn masturbation orgasmer who is being deprived, but the poor user who is forfeiting a lifetime of health, energy, wealth, peace of mind, confidence, courage, self-respect, happiness, and freedom. And what does he gain from these considerable sacrifices? Absolutely nothing, except the illusion of trying to get back to the state of peace, tranquility, and confidence that the non-porn masturbation orgasmer enjoys all the time.